Hello everybody! Welcome to Akashi Review, where I review movies, dramas that you don't want to waste your time watching. I'll give you synopsis, shorts review along with my thoughts and opinions, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Now let's go into the review. Hello everybody, Akashi here today. So today I'm going to be doing a Chinese drama review on the drama called Mr. Dragon. It's a total of 36 episodes and I was kind of iffy on whether I want to watch it at first, but the review was so good. I actually watched the first 5 episodes with this, so I'm going to go ahead and review that with you guys. So as for our cast, we have Dylan Wang playing. They have tons of names, because they live multiple lives. So everybody's thinking it's very similar to like those 10 Miles of Peach or 3 Lives, something like that. But Dylan Wang playing Yuqi Longyang or Long Yuqi or Long Yang. That's all his name. And then Zhu Shudang playing Liu Ying, and then the other name Yuan Fang, Yuan Yu, and then Feng Cheng Yu, and then Gu Qing Yang or something like that. They two got too much name. And then we got Dong Wei playing Shu Chen Shu, Pang Mei Yin playing Qin Qing, Chang Yu playing Shu Ji Wang, and then Zhu Zhangjin playing Ming Geng Xin Jun, and then Dai Win playing Xiao Jin, and then Catherine Yang playing Xiao Hu Shu. And there's tons of people, literally so many people. But as for our synopsis, a humble maid servant, Lu Yin, spends her days taking care of her beautiful young lady, Xiao Hu Shu. Coming across a snake by accident, she takes the poor creature and treats it until the snake gets better. Rather, it's not a snake, it's a thousand-year-old dragon king by the name Yuqi Longyang. Eternally grateful for her for saving his life, he's determined to repay her back by marrying her. But just when the two are about to get married, Xiao Hu Shu, her name is so complicated, is poisoned and is going to die. Upon learning that their souls, both the girls' souls, are tied together because of a faith they took, Yuqi Longyang has to save Xian Hu Shu in order to save his loved one, but he erases her memory of him. Eventually not be able to stand the pain of watching her from afar, he decides to go and receive to heaven and goes and spend many lifetimes with his loved one as they get reborn many times. And during the 4th lifetime, Lu Yun's she reincarnated into Gu Qi Yang, and slowly she becomes aware of his appearances and starting to recognize some of their past and realize that every lifetime they've been reunited, and so now she's determined to be together with him. But it's like, will they have a happy life and a happy ending? Recap on the first 5 episodes. The drama starts us off with the present time where Lu Yin is actually Gu Qingyang, and at this point she's missing and loving her long love, which is Yuqi Longyang, and she talks about how much they love each other and how much they care for one another, and she's going to continue to wait. And we flash back to 3 years ago of how it all started, which doesn't make sense because it's like, shouldn't be like 30,000 a year, you know? I mean, a certain amount of time before you get reborn again, but whatever. So Lu Yin is actually sitting in a carriage with her young lady, Xiao Hu Shu, and she points out the book that her young lady points out the books that she loves, which is called The Dragon King. And she's so in love with the love story, and she's so in love and hoping to meet a dragon one day. You know, and they're almost home, but they get stopped by a bunch of villagers who are hungry and just suffering. And we get to see the kind-hearted Lu Yin giving the villager tons of food as they do not harm them. And we also learn that she's an orphan, and her father was a very good doctor, which she was taught all these medical and everything. And for somehow she's lucky to be left behind into the Xian family, and she became the maid servant to Xian Hu Shu, and who they adore and care for one another as if they were sisters. Lu Yin believes that there are dragons out there, and one day she will see one. During this time of talking, she looks up and she actually does see it, but her young lady is just like, yeah, and doesn't believe her. This dragon she actually sees is actually Yuqi Longyang during his going through his like thunder strikes and everything. And it gets explained to us actually in episode 4 that he was actually being tortured for 1,000 years by these thunder strikes because the god said that he stole the stone of the goddess Nuang, which he didn't. He fell in front of it with no guards guarding this precious stone to the gods and everything, you know, and the stone just decided to go into him. And for that, they didn't do him justice and he got tortured. And so he hates them for that. But moving on, the two ladies, they end up going home and they end up at the fallen flower valley where they end up seeing this white snake. And it's actually injured, and so Luyan, she's like, she doesn't want to take it, but her young ladies are like, just take it, you know, you cure all these animal and everything, you can do the same thing. She's like, but it's a snake, I don't want it. But she ends up taking it, and then she takes it home and she treats it, and we find out how he even fell there in the first place. Was he went to get this golden armor, and as he got it, he fell into a trap and he got hurt. So Luyan ends up taking him in, saving him, and she helps him and treats him, and she's feeding him and all stuff like that, and pretty much taking care of him, really good care of him. And we previously see that she was helping a bluebird, and this bluebird can actually transform into a human, which her name is Qing Qing, and she was actually born with a meteor scar on her forehead, which she hates, and she tries to get rid of it, but it actually has something to do with her past that she does not remember. So moving on, as Lu Yin treats Longyang, when the nighttime comes, he turns into human and he watches her sleep. And throughout that, he's always laying next to her, and she rolls over, hugs him, and all stuff like that while she sleeps. And he starts to slowly develop feelings to her without knowing it. He doesn't understand anything about the human world, but he becomes fond of her and her scent. He's constantly drawn towards it. As Xiehushu goes off to the temple for a couple of days, leaving Luyan to just relax before her young lady comes back. She goes into the city, she has her fun, and she does her things that she usually does, and then she meets Longyang, and this is where their story starts to begin. He starts to fall in love with her and slowly try to make her happy. He always sees her when he goes back home. There's like a vision of her with her. It's like showing that he can't stop thinking about her, and he's always picturing her. And he doesn't understand humans, so he ends up at this prostitute house where he goes and learns all these things, and she gets upset about him that, why'd you go to this place? Like, it's just for men to go and find pleasure. It's not something I like, you know. So he apologizes, and he's never gonna do that again or go to those places again. And she does has feeling for him, but she learns that he is a dragon. He shows his true form to her. He flies her. He shows it to her his place and all this stuff like that. But she's really happy because it actually is true, and just like her favorite book, where it's the Dragon King, where the dragon and the human falls in love. But she's like, it's like the book, but it's impossible in life. Even though as much as I like you, it's just impossible for us to be together. You're an immortal, you know. And so we get a lot of their times together in the first 5 episodes, and they're so sweet and all these things like that. It's so cute and everything. Like when he took her to the fallen flower valley, and they're like drawing all these things, the dragon, and like, you know, he gave her a firefly rain field and everything like that, like giving his token of love to her. It's such a beautiful, and he actually give her the outfit of how he sees her and like all these things like that. He's so loving of her. And then that's like, we get to see them, and then we also flash to see Qing Qing, who's trying to now find out how to get rid of her meteor scar, and she ends up meeting the immortal of faith, who knows about her path, and he ends up sending her to Lufeng Pavilion. And there she meets Su Qinsu, and she ends up being captured and having to serve him as his maid. And he gets to see flashbacks that comes to him that is unclear, and he doesn't understand. And his place is basically where people go and get reborn. But when they go, they have to drink a tea to forget their past. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened to him, and Qing Qing and him were actually lovers. Stuff he does for her feels familiar. She feels familiar too. So moving on, we get to see that there is actually a disaster that happened a million years ago, and this is where all the heartbreaking stuff is about to happen to us from episode 5 and on. Million years ago, a war between the immortals and demons caused realms chaos to all these realms. And the goddess of Nuwan gathered all the powers of the immortals and demons and locked it up with this sky net. I forgot what it's called. It's like the yin something spirit power. And the net starts to slowly crack, and when it does, it releases powers and spirits. And so every time this happens, Lu Feng Pavilion collects the spirits to power. Well, this is where it connects Lu Yang and Xiang Hu Shu together. They took it all together, and they're actually a part of these like spirits. So if something was to happen to one or the other dies. And so Xiao Hushu is actually poisoned and she's going to die, and Lu Yan does ask Long Yang to go and help save her young lady, and in doing so he learns that they are tied together, and in order to save his loved one he has to save Xiao Hushu, but it comes with a price, and he has to leave his loved one in order to save her. So that ends it for us for the first 5 episodes. It does become heartbreaking after that, and a lot of things, and they do jump straight into all the reborning and everything like that. But I've seen clips, and it's just so heartbreaking when he has to marry the young lady, and he, instead of himself, because he doesn't want to, he took a branch and he created a fake minion image of him, so he never were actually at the wedding, and he was just watching it. And when Lu Yang actually went and got married, like her memory is now erased everything of him. He erased her memory when she was going to marry him, you know. She's like, I'm gonna marry you, thank you for saving my lady, I'm gonna marry you. He erases her memory and she doesn't remember anything of him, but like when stuff happens, her heart still feels as if she's missing something, and she cries and she doesn't understand, and he's like watching her, but she doesn't see him, and he's just like, I miss you so much. And it's just so sad as it goes on. You're just like, oh my god, I'm so happy the first 5 episodes and all the heartbreaking things is about to happen. But I really do look forward to seeing what's gonna happen and how this drama is gonna turn out. This is actually my first time seeing Dylan Wong acting in a historical fantasy drama like this. We obviously see him in the reboot of Meteor Garden, and he did an excellent job in there. And I did not think he was able to pull off this look, but he did. He looks really, really good in these type of historical look and everything like that. Like even the white hair matches him, and then when like he transformed and he's in like the black hair, or he's in like an armor, he looks really, really good. So I was like, oh my god, he's so fitting for this role. He looks really good. So I really do look forward to see how this drama is gonna turn out. I'm like telling my sister it's really good, and if you want to wait, go ahead and wait. But like as of right now, it's already up to like episode 20 or something like that, and I was able to watch the first 5 episodes of it. I'm so sucked into it, so really do look forward to see how it's gonna happen. And I do not know how it's gonna end, but I'm crossing fingers it gives us a happy ending. But like they already showed us like the beginning that they're flashing back. It doesn't look like it, but I'm sure he's gonna come back, you know. He's immortal, he's a dragon king, he's gonna come back and he's gonna get hurt. But that's it for today's review on Mr. Dragon. That's it for today, and I will see you guys next time.